Hello and welcome to Northwest Knitting. My name is Kathy and this is my knitting podcast where I talk about my knitting projects, yarns that I love, and my journey toward making more sustainable clothing for myself and for others. I'm coming to you from Eugene, Oregon in the Willamette Valley. And this, I think, is episode 47. And what I'll talk to you about today will be, I have a little follow-up with about a project or two that I worked on and talked to you about last time. I'll tell you what I'm wearing, which is a new finished object, and a few other little things that I've been working on. So, and I'll follow up with a little bit of talk about some books I've read recently. So I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. I hope you had some respite, got to enjoy some seasonal pleasures, either weather-wise or just sitting comfortably in your house and knitting. We got to be with some of our grandkids and my daughter and her husband for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which was so delightful, with a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. So that was very, very lovely to experience. I think one of the first things I'm going to tell you about is I did make a sweater for my granddaughter, and it was given to her on Christmas, so I don't have it. I should have experimented here beforehand, but oh, there you go. There it is. There is her unicorn sweater. And that is the, let's see, it is the Always Forever unicorn sweater by Wool&Beyond. And I did it in Purl Soho, wool worsted in lake blue and pink violet, and I forget the last color, but I talked about it in my last episode. And it was a very challenging project, but it turned out okay at the end. As you can see, but I did not finish that project feeling like I was excited about. Intarsia, I think, after all is said and done, I think that if I had been using a more rustic wool, I think the breaks in the yarn, the edges of where the two colors are coming together, might have smoothed out a little better. This was a pretty, it's a nice yarn, but it's a little bit slippery, and not as slippery as some by any means, but yeah, it was kind of challenging for me to work with. So also I kind of jumped right into it, not paying too much attention to what maybe I could have done more practice with Intarsia before I got started. But at any rate, it's finished, and I think to a 3-year-old eye, it looks good. However, there was one other thing that only I was probably worrying about, which is that child grew in between the time I figured out what her measurements were and finished the sweater. And so that would have affected my calculations, and I should have anticipated it, but I really wanted her to be able to wear it this year. And yeah, so I kind of maybe didn't play that one completely well, but it looks fine on her. It really does. And the unicorn love is maybe just now. And so, you know, maybe a year from now, it'll be something else entirely. And probably will be. So anyway, that was fun to finish. I had my hats that I talked about last time worked out great. I had a little cowl for my daughter, and yeah, it was good. It worked out okay. So let me tell you about what I'm working on, or what I just finished. I did feel like I worked on it forever. This is the Eva Cardigan by Petite Knit. I talked to you about it last time. It's hard to see on her page because it's very dark, but I think you can get the idea. It's just a simple cardigan, and I picked it because I thought I could make gauge. And the yarn was so thick, I thought it would do better with kind of that this wide 2x2 rib. There's so many patterns now that have the doubled over button band, which I haven't tried. I'd really like to. I think it looks nice. But this yarn was never going to be a real smooth kind of refined garment. It was going to be more of a rustic and outerwear garment. And so the Petite Knit Eva seemed to hit all the check all the boxes for what I wanted. And what I've used for this is here's my last bit of the Ewetopia Sustainawool in the Bluebird colorway. And it's a combination of several yarns. On Ravelry it says Rambouillet and Targhee. The label also includes, let's see what they have here. It also included Merino and CVM, and they call it 100% Midwest fine wools, and they're calling it DK weight. And I talked about this last time probably. I find it a little heavier. It's an unusual feel. It is, it looks rustic, but it has absolutely no prickle to it. And I think you would very happily wear this next to skin, unless you're exceptionally, there's just no prickle. Nothing like, nothing like Jamieson and Smith or Let Lopey. Just a whole different thing. It really, I wouldn't say, you know, you would buy it for a cashmere type feeling, but it really is a soft, I just don't feel any prickles. So you never know. People really vary on this. Probably if I knit something for my friends who don't knit, this might be too, just not what they're used to. But to me, it really, and I don't see any way this is going to pill. So let me tell you a few things about the pattern. The pattern called for, the gauge for the pattern is 18 inches over 4 stitches. And so, no. The pattern is 20 stitches over 4 inches. So 5 stitches to the inch, and called for DK weight. and this is just feels so much thicker to me. So, I know DK means all kinds of things, and 18 stitches to the 4 inches is about the bottom of DK weight, I think. My gauge was 18 instead of 20, so 4.5 stitches to the inch as opposed to 5. And I had to go down to size 5 needles to get that. Now, if I had to do it again, I would not have used size 5. However, the finished garment doesn't feel stiff at all. And I knew that from swatching. My swatch was pretty, really loosened up great, even on size 5 needles. So I'm a loose knitter. I had to go down to size 5. I don't know. It's just hard to call these things, but it seemed like it worked out okay. I had to knit a size 1. If I had had gauge, I would have been knitting size 4 to get, I wanted something a little bigger than usual because I intended it for outerwear, and the pattern calls for about 10 inches of positive ease. So I was looking at maybe like 45 inches, something like that. So that's how I did all the math, and I ended up with size 1. So the nice thing is you're casting on fewer stitches and so forth. I do have some issues with it, which is why I've delayed standing up. So I'm calling it finished, but I just looked at it. I talked to my husband, and I have to take out the pockets. And there's another issue too, but let me just show you. So the yarn does have little slubby bits here and there. It's really a nice bright color, and I liked the fit here on the shoulders is nice. You start in the back, you knit part of the back, and then you attach one side, and then you knit a ways, and then the other side. It's really, and it's not dropped shoulder. But anyway, so here is, I modified by adding quite a bit of length. And she calls for, I have a couple more buttons to put on. I just could not finish it last night, and I want to do this because who knows when I might. But I don't know if you can see that button. The buttons have some turquoise in them, and I got those at Josephine's Dry Goods in Portland, and there were some vintage buttons being sold there. So anyway, I have a few more buttons, and the pockets need to be replaced. So I'll show you that. So there's 2 issues. One I'm going to live with because there's no way I'm taking this button band off. It's a really wide, this is per pattern, is the size of the button band. And the problem is, there are 2 problems. One is because the pockets are too small, and they're just noticeably small. And in a way, I feel like, well, it doesn't matter what people observe. But I think what happened is that when I came back to knit, you can see there's a few ends remaining here. When I came back to, these stitches were on a holder. When I came back to knit the pocket, I think I used a very small needle by mistake, and then I was lazy and I just kept going with it. And then last night I was watching some news, which was so very distressing news. Anyway, we're knitting for solace, but distressing news. And I think I just was not paying attention. It just seems they're too conspicuous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all my stitches along here, rip out this part of the pocket lining, put it back on needles, and knit on much bigger needles. So they're both just too, just too tight. They just went in, so they weren't even as wide as the pocket itself. So the pocket I have to live with. But so there's that. The other thing is, I think I knit, and this one I'm not, I can't take out this button band for mental health reasons. But I knit the ribbing. I like to do a twisted rib at the bottom to make it not curve in, but I did it on needles that were too small. And so partly because my purling can sometimes be too loose, and I feel like it's puffing a little bit out here. Now, I don't know how much of that is what was because of the blocking, how it how it was sitting when I was blocking it, or what, but it is a little puffy there. But I think I'm gonna fix the pockets and live with the puffiness. So, because I'm finished with this project, I've done as much as I'm gonna do. Normally, I'd say keep going until you make it a wearable garment, and I have done that. But it's not going to be a perfect one. It's super warm. It feels great. So I recommend the pattern. Pattern's very straightforward, and I don't think you can go wrong there. So I did make it quite a bit longer, and then the pattern calls for, and that was just my preference for because I was making it an outerwear garment, but I might have done something very different. So having done this long cardigan, now I have definitely been thinking of making something shorter, maybe something that could go more nicely over a skirt or a dress. So it sure would have been faster if I had ended quite a few inches before I did, huh? So anyway, here's to you. I hope you're enjoying yourself and having some lovely knits. I really appreciate some of the ideas people gave me in the comments to the last episode, and I meant to make a note to tell you. But anyway, if I do them, you'll hear about them. Particularly enjoyed the suggestion for these ribbed baby pants that look like they would fit a child for a much longer than average period of time. So thanks to the person who recommended that. Okay. Let's see, what else should I tell you? I was feeling, I did actually quite a few gift knits for me. And I was thinking maybe I'd cast on a Christmas knit, but I have a very nice cardigan, that Kate Davies tonic cardigan. I just have needed the time to pay attention to it, and so I will be working on that next. But there are a lot of January and February and even March birthdays in the family. And one of them is another little person. So I made 2 little accessories. So this is for my granddaughter, who I made the anchor, not anchor, the, oh dear, I'll put it in the show notes, but it was the, one of the baby sweaters I talked about last month, or last time I podcasted, that had the Tin Can Knits pattern that had the ribbing up all around the yoke. So that was in a bright pink. And let's see. So I have made a little cowl for her. This is my first cowl for a child, and also a hat. And the patterns for these were from the Doodle Knit directory. And oh gosh, I just got, after Christmas, I just wanted some things that were super easy and bright colors. And so the first one I made, the cowl, is the Doodle cowl. And here's her. And the book is by Jamie Lomax. And I'm assuming by now you might have seen all the little, they look like decks of cards, and they have little patterns, colorwork patterns. Does she have any in here? I don't think she shows them in here, but you will have seen them for sure. But the directory has about 200 motifs. And so what happens is she gives you this basic cowl. There's a cowl. This is the very simple one, but there's also an infinity cowl, a scarf that's knit in the round. There's DK weight and fingering socks. There's a hat, and I can't remember if there's anything else here. So what you do is she gives you the basic pattern. Fingerless mitts and gloves. So they're basic patterns, and then you look on her, I don't want to show too much of the pattern, but she has these little motifs, and you pick them. And I picked some pretty simple ones. So for the cowl, I don't know if it was both of these, but one of these I was limited by the size. Some of the sizes you can only do 12 stitch motifs, but a lot of the bigger motifs are 24 stitches. So they don't work for every size. So I just picked some simple little flowers and then 2 rows of the hearts. And gosh, this is just a cute little thing in time for Valentine's Day. Her birthday's in a couple weeks. This is for a 5-year-old. And then for the hat, I just did these little very simple motifs, but changed the colors. And yeah, it was just very, very satisfying to work on. So let me tell you the yarn. You could really have a grand old time doing this. I'll tell you, the one that I think grabbed me the most is I just absolutely love this scarf on the cover. And normally I don't pick white as a background, but it does make me want to get some more natural color yarn. to do that, because it was very enjoyable to do it a light color as the background, which I always seem to lean towards these darker colors. We have a newish yarn store in Springfield, which is just right across the river from me. And it's the Eugene Springfield metropolitan area. And in Springfield, right downtown, is Stringfield Collective. I'm saying it right, I hope. Link will be below. And it's down on 5th. And one of the owners is Laura, who makes Always Be Kind yarn. And it seems to be all superwash. She has a lot of rainbows. And this one is called Super Smooshy DK Base. And this is what I used. And as you know, superwash isn't my fave, but it's for a child. And I have to say, she had a cowl made up with this confetti color, and it was just feeling it. It is super smooshy and very soft. It's 85% superwash, ultrafine merino, and 15% nylon. So if you're gonna absolutely have to have soft, it's for the kids. So anyway, so there's about 240 yards, and I only had one skein, and I still have quite a bit here. So, and then she has these other colors. Do I have them all? I think I only have these two. And there was a green in there also. But I already had quite a few. She sells quite a few minis, so I had gotten some for socks, and then there were a few DK here, and these are little minis that I got. And then I used, this is the pink, this is the Purl Soho that I used for the unicorn sweater. And that is the, is it good wool, or I just said it to you a few minutes ago. Daily wool, the daily wool, 100% superwash also. So I am using this up. I have another plan for a baby sweater, and that will be with this, which is the sea glass blue. And there's another color I might use with this. But anyway, these are super fun, and I think what I might do, maybe not for this birthday, but the 5-year-old is expecting a little sister, so maybe I'll make a baby size hat for when the baby comes, which is within a few weeks. And then we're going up for 10 days to help them after the baby's born. But maybe a little hat for the baby would be a good idea. And then I would like to know, has anyone ever made a cowl for a child? I was going to ask her mom. And then I thought, oh, what the heck? Because this is, if you haven't ever done color work, this is the perfect practice right here. This cowl has no shaping. You just, cast in the round, do the ribbing. She calls for a twisted rib, interestingly. And gosh, I just love that confetti. What do you think? Isn't that confetti just a lovely background? Sometimes it gets a little brighter. Oh. Anyway, this would be fun. I could do a little hat for the baby, and I probably have, I'm sure I have plenty. Maybe I won't have quite as much white, but anyway, that would be a fun way to keep my little doodling going for the moment. And the other thing that really appealed to me, you would be limited in what I would think. I wouldn't mind doing these for myself. These fingerless mitts. And you just go look at the motifs, and you see this little motif here, little tiny ones up here. You can do a whole thing of them. They come in 3 sizes for the mitts. The hats and the cowl had more sizes, but for the mitts, it's a child size and 2 adult sizes. And I wonder, for the child size, you would again be limited to just the 12 stitch motifs. And there are quite a few. There's lots of basic geometric ones. I did want to do a representational motif. Here's those. But I didn't really, I felt like I didn't have the yarn for what I was looking at. So I went with the hearts. But there's so many, now see these. I'm trying not to show you the chart. This one I think is 24 stitch motif, but I think this one is 12. So you could do something. And this one, this one up here is a 12 stitch. So it's not like you are limited, so you don't have all 24 if you're going to just make a narrow little mitt. But you have lots of choices here to pick from. And of course, you might go to your local yarn store and see, you could buy one of those. She has these packs of doodles, doodle charts. She has almost every topic under the sun. There's gardening, there's farm, there's winter, there's Christmas holiday, there's fantasy, there's just all kinds of things. I think she also has some for traveling ones, like for Paris, or so anyway, there you could do that and then just buy a blank pattern, or certainly you could use her charts to on a basic pattern that you already have. There's no reason that I thought about that for a baby sweater. So anyway, I really did enjoy that, and I hadn't done it yet, and I kept putting it off, and doing it for doing the little cowl really got me started on it, and it was just super fun. I didn't even, the patterns I picked were so easy, I didn't even mark them with tape. I usually do, on the chart, I usually have tape over, just so I just see what I'm working on, and I didn't even need to do that because these were so simple. I think, if you did a 24 stitch one, you'd have to be a little more careful. Okay, so that was the Doodle directory. Let me just, what I have, I just feel like this has been a very strange time, partly because I've been working on all these smaller things, and then I got back to this, and this turned out to be, even though I had done most of it before Christmas, I still had quite a bit to do, and it's amazing how, like last night, all I did was weave in ends, do a crummy job on the pockets, and then put on some of the buttons, and it took me all evening, I think several shows on television to do. So it just, cardigans take a long time. I do have that tonic cardigan. I'm so excited to finish that. But I would like to do something for myself that's a pullover, really easy, and kind of a shorter one that maybe I could wear with a dress. So maybe something, it would be nice to make something for dress up. I don't have many opportunities for dressing up, but it would be fun, and a pullover just feels so much easier to me after this cardigan. And then I have the tonic, and then I also have one more cardigan that's on the needles that I have to decide if I'll finish or frog. So maybe I'll report back next time on that one. Okay, I think what I'll do next is I want to tell you about a couple books. One is I just finished the book Buckeye, and I believe the author is Patrick Ryan. I will put it in the show notes. I won't look it up right now, but it's a pretty popular newish book. I got it for a present, and I really enjoyed it. It is definitely, it's a book that covers from, let's see, after World War I and through World War II and beyond. And it's kind of a generational story. It's about, there's two men, two women, and you cover from their childhoods, and then way beyond until they're, reaching older age, and they have children, and just sort of what their lives are. It felt like kind of an old-fashioned book, but if you're looking for kind of an old-fashioned, I wouldn't say grand saga, but following these people, and I'm pretty sure he calls it Buckeye because it takes place in Ohio, which is the Buckeye state. So I really enjoyed that. It gives you plenty of time to get into some of the characters, and yeah, it was enjoyable. It's not all joyful happiness. It wouldn't be interesting if it was just like, oh, they all met each other and it was all happy and lovely. I mean, there's complexities of life are in there, but I really did enjoy it, and I love it when I can really get into the characters. So that's a recommendation. And then this is a nonfiction book that maybe only knitters and spinners are interested in, but it's The True Cost of Wool, and it's by Anna Hunter, and I will put the link. She also wrote a book called Sheep, Shepherd, and Land a while back, but The True Cost of Wool, she's on Instagram, and that's where I heard about this book. And I will put her Instagram name. I think it is either Long Homestead, something like that. And Clara Parks, the wool guru, wrote the introduction. She wrote a foreword. So anyway, the subtitle of the book is A Vision for Revitalizing the Canadian Industry. And it's a slim little book here, and she's talking about wool as being produced, grown, and processed in Canada. And I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming it's not too far off from the situation in the States. I would love to read an equivalent book for the United States. But she herself is raising sheep, and she does this thing throughout the book. So first she talks about growing wool, the cost of growing wool, shipping wool, processing wool in Canada, processing wool internationally, which for them would mean the United States, I think, and then changing the Canadian wool industry one step at a time. I enjoyed it. It has a ton of information in here. And one of the things that prompted her to write it is that how irritating as a person who raising sheep and making wool, people asking her, why is your yarn so expensive? So she really wanted to talk and discover what it costs to make a skein of yarn. And so in every chapter, she talks about, she follows the wool. So she'll go, what is the cost of production for one sheep for 1 year in this scenario? And what is the cost of production for one sheep for 1 year in that scenario? And it has a lot to do with what choices you make in terms of what you're doing with the wool and so forth. Are you making yarn out of it? Are you just selling the wool? In which case you're in trouble because you don't get much for wool. Or are you making it into something else like yarn? Are you selling it for other purposes? It could be sold for so many things. And then she looks at what the cost per skein is if you're selling colored Shetland wool, fine wool, medium wool. Yeah, really interesting. So if you're interested in a deep dive into kind of trying to figure out all this confusing stuff about yarn and why so much of our yarn comes from elsewhere, I think the Canadian book here has some clues. So anyway, I highly recommend this. I know it. I will be reading it again because I was just trying to get a grip on some of it. So, now I can't remember when I mentioned this, but a while ago I mentioned a book called 3 Bags Full, which is a mystery story where sheep set out to try and solve the mystery of who murdered their shepherd. And it turns out they have made a movie out of it, and I think Hugh Jackman and Emma Thompson are in it. And I just saw a trailer, and the sheep are hilarious. So they're not calling it 3 Bags Full. They're calling it something like Sheep Detective. So again, I'll put a link down below to that. The very funny. It made me want to rewatch that movie from ages ago, Babe, I think. Isn't it with the pig being the shepherd, being a shepherd dog? Anyway, and finally, I have one more book to recommend. This is going to be a gift item, and it is called Bud Finds Her Gift, and it is a children's book. Here's the back cover. Everyone from the day of their birth was given a gift to share with the earth, and it is written by Robin Wall Kimmerer, who wrote Braiding Sweetgrass. And she also has a newer book, which now I have forgotten the name of, but Braiding Sweetgrass was really a... the other book was Serviceberry, which I mentioned within the last 6 months, I'm sure. So Braiding Sweetgrass was, the subtitle is Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. And this is almost, so her philosophy is that everybody comes into the earth, to earth with a gift that they can give back to the earth. And so this is all about a grandmother who talks to her granddaughter, who's noticing that everybody's doing important things, and what is she going to do? And her grandmother, called Nokomis, takes her out in the woods. You can see there's really beautiful pictures. They go out into the woods, and she teaches her to go look in the woods and notice things. And she teaches her to notice, pay attention, and see what she sees. And I really do think this is a delightful book, and in some ways gets the message of braiding sweetgrass to children. And I just was thrilled to find this in a bookstore when we were traveling this fall. So Bud Finds Her Gift. And I have a funny feeling that book will come. Sometimes they take the covers off, but fortunately it still has a nice cover. Yeah, little kids tend to rip these. I've thought about, it might be fun to do something, all these hardback children's books. It might be fun to do something with the covers. Maybe put them on the wall even. Anyway, okay. I think that's it for now. I might go ahead and actually upload this. Sometimes I do this. I record many times, and this might be as good as it gets. So not perfect by any means, but here we go. And I'd love to do it more often. And if I were less fussy and just uploaded when I had something to say, then I would see you more often. I would love to hear what you're working on, how you're doing, and if there's anything that you've noticed that you out there. There are so many new patterns. Oh my gosh, I've just been, there are just so many. One of them, one more thing, I have been looking at Gudrun Johnston's Riggy's vest, because she's been really promoting it, and there's all these pictures, and I couldn't decide if I liked the style of the vest or I was just totally enamored with the color. Well, I went through my pile. I have a big pile over here of Jamieson's and Jamieson and Smith, and to see if I had the very color that she's wearing, and indeed I do. It is the Titanic. So this is the color that she used for that Riggy's vest. My question, I do like how it looks. I just questioned, it's meant to go over the shoulder, and it's knit in pieces. So in 4 pieces, 2 front and 2 back, and then it's seamed together. And I think the 3 needle bind off looked really fun going down the middle, and you could do it, you could color block it and so forth. I'm just apprehensive about doing it in pieces and feeling confident about fit. So that was the thing that paused me. And then I went online to see if I could buy the yarn, because I just love how it looks much brighter on her photographs, I think, than this. But I'm pretty sure this is the yarn she's using is Titanic. And I like this color quite a bit. So anyway, I only have this one skein. I think sometimes I might just occasionally buy a number of them, and I think, well, I'll always use them for color work one way or another, and then it gives me an idea, because it's just so challenging to you know, this was that damask color that I ended up not using on my tonic, but these Jameson heathery colors are so nifty, but it's really hard to tell if you're online looking. This one is another damask. So it's just, I just find it really hard. I looked online and this looked completely washed out. So sometimes you can go check multiple sites just to make sure that you're on the right track here. Anyway, but this color really appealed to me. And also, if it's a whole, I do have several cones left of Jameson and Smith, and maybe I could fall in love with one of those instead of buying more Jamesons right now. But anyway, did you see that pattern, and are you interested in it? Because it is kind of intriguing. The construction is so different. Okay, now I really am ending. You know, I could talk all day about these things, and I could pull out my Instagram and my Ravelry and start talking to you about all the things, because I do spend quite a bit of time thinking about these things. But probably my next pullover will be something with mohair in it. I need something really soft, really comforting, and I think that'll be the ticket here. So I just need to settle on what that'll be, and then I'll tell you about it next time. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a good winter. I hope you're handling all the challenges of the world right now. And I really look forward to hearing from you if you have time to make a comment. And if not, I will see you next time. So thanks so much. Bye-bye.